Hey everyone, it's Darth Nihilus here, back to you today with another video, and today I wanted to talk about the fact that I really wish that I were lucky enough of being able to have either a Russian or Ukrainian girlfriend, and especially wife. And to start off this video, I wanted to say that the older I get, and am still a virgin, a kissless virgin to be exact, the more I suffer, the more pain that adds on or builds up in my life. Like, seriously, my suffering, my pain, the agony that I am in and that I have been in for so many years of my life now has just been literally eating away at me, eating away at my heart, eating away at my soul. I just honestly do not know how much more of this never-ending suffering I can take. Like, seriously, I don't know how much more of it I can bear. I've been alone and extremely, severely lonely for so fucking long now. So many fucking miserable years of my pathetic life. And I never had a girlfriend all throughout my teen years, not even in my early 20s. And if I could have had it my way, I would have wanted to have gotten married by my early 20s. At the very oldest, or at the very latest, in other words, because I know that when it comes to like the majority of human beings, the majority of the human race, most people normally and typically start dating when they're teenagers. And then by the time they're in their early 20s, if they're not full-on married, they're at least engaged. That much is fact. And usually also, they start having kids in their early 20s. But hell, people even will start having fucking kids when they're teenagers too. I mean, I used to know some people a long time ago in my life when I was still a teenager that, had children themselves as teenagers. Like, it wasn't that common, of course. I mean, usually and normally, it's probably more common or popular for a man and a woman to start having children by the time they're in their early 20s at the very latest or very oldest. But, when it comes to just like dating, most people start doing that shit when they're fucking teenagers. Because unlike me, most people are way more lucky than I have ever been in my entire worthless, pitiful life. I just can't take it anymore. Like, I cannot stand all of this never-ending suffering and pain and anguish that I'm in and that I have been in for so long now. I mean, I wanted a girlfriend ever since I was 15 years old, starting in 2012, because that was the very year and age in which I went to high school. That was the year and age that I first started high school as a 9th grader, as a freshman, in late 2012, when I was 15 years old. At that age, late in that year, that is when I first really desperately wanted to have a girlfriend. That was the year and age in which I longed and yearned for a girlfriend like crazy, more than any of you would ever understand. And of course, none of you will understand, because when it comes to you, unlike compared to me, most of you faggot-ass normies in your oh-so-privileged, special, precious lives of yours started dating and started fucking and having all this wonderful-ass pleasure to get out all your raging hormones and also just how horny both of you guys and girls were as teenagers. And so you were able to get out all of your sexual frustration and energy by the time when you were still really fucking young. Like super fucking young. Because that is the point in time in pretty much everyone's lives when their hormones are at their highest. Both when a man or a woman are teenagers, that is the time period in both of their lives in which their hormones are at an all-time high. I'm sorry, I can't talk correctly. Just please bear with me. I'm trying here. But, when you're teenagers, that is the time in pretty much anyone and everyone's lives when they're the most horny, where their hormones are just ragingly high, insanely high. And they were the same for me too. But unlike compared to me, I wasn't lucky or privileged enough of being able to have a girlfriend of my picking or choosing, in other words. Every girl that I had a crush on in high school that I liked, that I was lusting after, that I desired, that I craved, that I wanted to be with, that I wished to have, that I felt that I deserved or whatever, that I was entitled to, already had a boyfriend. Each and every single one of them. They were all taken up. So every single fucking girlfriend that I wanted when I was in high school, for the very short period amount of time that I was in high school before I dropped out, every girl that I had a crush on already had a boyfriend. They were already being ran through. And I did not need to see it to believe it. Just by the fact alone that they had a boyfriend, I already knew from just common basic sense that they were getting ran through, that they were getting fucked, pleased and pleasured by to the ends of the earth. Pleased and pleasured by their boyfriends, that is. And, so I eventually dropped out of high school because I couldn't take it. The pain was just too unbearable. It was too much. It was too extreme. I couldn't take it anymore, so I dropped out of high school. But even later on in my life, as I started aging, even when I had crushes on, say, other girls, like if I had a crush on any of the Ukrainian women at the church that my parents go to, like I did have a crush on like some of them, and of course the ones that I did have a crush on either already had a boyfriend and ended up getting married, which broke my fucking heart, like as if my heart hasn't already been broken so many times over. And you may argue or say that, oh, I can't have my heart broken because I never had a girlfriend. Well, the interesting thing about women is they can break a man's heart without even being in a relationship with him. Like, women literally break so many men's hearts, whether, they're in a relationship with them or not. If they're dating them, if they're married to them, and they break up with their boyfriend or divorce their husband and take everything he's ever had and earned in his life, or if it's just a girl or woman who never liked a guy and rejected all these guys who eventually end up becoming incels in the long run later on in their life. I mean, normally guys will start becoming incels as early as in their late teens. Like, I didn't start identifying as an incel myself until I was 20 years old and still a virgin. Like, even though I was very negative and dark-minded and perverted and degenerate and twisted and all that shit when I was a teenager, I still did not identify yet as an incel at that specific point in time in my life. Like, I did not identify as an incel when I was 15, 16, or 17, or even really 18 or 19. I didn't start really identifying as an incel until I was 20 years old in 2017, 7 years ago. And the main reason that was because I started learning about incels, starting and beginning with Elliot Rodger, a self-proclaimed incel. You know, ever since I discovered and learned about Elliot Rodger, that's when I first started identifying as an incel myself. And also because by the time I was 20 years old, I was still a virgin, even though I know for a damn well fact that most guys lose their fucking virginity when they're 14 years old. Some guys even younger. But honestly, for most guys, for most men in this world, throughout human history, they were lucky and privileged and blessed and fortunate enough of being able to lose their virginity as young and as early as 14 years old. And then for women, they normally or usually lose their virginity when they're about 17 years old, at least according to studies, research, or statistics. And obviously, since there are studies done about this shit, I'm obviously going to believe them because they're true and they're fact. It's not like I'm making this shit up and just pulling it right out of my ass. But then, right now, as of 2024, I'm 27. 27 years old and still a virgin. Still a miserable, depressed as fuck incel virgin man. A black pillar. Nihilistic. You know, I've suffered for so long. I have been just literally so very dead inside for the longest time now. Honest to God. I have been hopeless and full of despair and brokenhearted and in so much deep, endless, never-ending pain and agony emotionally. I've just been a miserable wreck. I've been crushed. I've been torn apart. I have just been dying on the inside internally. You know, I can only wish that I would have died when I was a little kid. Seriously. I do. If I could have known and predicted or seen into the future and seen that as a teenager, as young as 15 years old, I would have started suffering and that my life from that point on would have been a living hell, then I honestly, honest to God, would have hoped to have died when I was still a child. Before I was even 13. I would have preferred to have died maybe around the age of 12. Heart attack, stroke, or just simply died in my sleep. If I could have known and predicted and could have seen into the future that I would have started suffering as much as I have because of being just totally and completely unable to talk to girls that I like, to make a move on them, because I never had and lacked my whole entire fucking life confidence, self-esteem. I've never loved myself. I'm not charming. I'm not extroverted. I don't have a good personality because of how many years I've been suffering for. And because of that, I have so much fucking trauma now. Just years and years of trauma. And obviously, it wouldn't be fair of me to put that on a woman or expect a woman to try to heal me or fix me. Although, that would be nice. That would be a dream come true and literally heaven on earth for me if there were literally a kind, sweet, loving, caring, compassionate, understanding, empathetic woman enough to the point where she would at least try and make that attempt and make that effort to try to heal me at least as much as she possibly could, even if it were only a little bit. Like, I'll never be as happy and joyful as I was when I was a little kid, but if I had a girlfriend, if I had a wife, I would at least be a little teensy-weensy bit happier, because at least I would have someone to share my life with, share my suffering with, and someone to open up to. And obviously, I would listen to her problems as well. And to be honest, if I were able to find a woman as damaged as myself, then that would be even better, because then we would be able to commiserate back and forth. We'd be able to share both of our suffering equally and both try to heal each other. I mean, I would fucking love that. But I guess that's just me personally. But anyways, I really wish that I were able to have either a Russian or Ukrainian girlfriend, and especially a wife. And honestly, what I crave way more than a girlfriend, or what I want way more than a girlfriend, is a wife. And the reason I say that is because whether you agree with me or not, I missed out on my teens of being able to have, the kind of teenage experiences that I wanted to have at that specific point in time of my life. Like, I wanted to be able to have a girlfriend when I was a teenager. That's when I wanted a girlfriend. Because that's normally, usually, or typically when most guys and girls start being boyfriends and girlfriends. But by the time that men and women are in their 20s, that's usually, normally, and typically when they start either getting married or at least thinking about it, considering it. And when it comes to me, I wanted to get married in my late teens or early 20s at the very oldest, at the very latest. But that didn't happen for me. I wasn't lucky enough of being able to have the privilege, the wonderful privilege of not only being able to start dating as a teenager myself personally, but then also eventually be able to get married to whatever girl I would have been dating as a teenager that hopefully I would have eventually married in, say, my late teens or early 20s at the very oldest. But that didn't happen for me. I wasn't lucky or fortunate or privileged enough of being able to have that kind of life. And so that is why I ended up becoming a black-pilled incel virgin man. And then now in my late teens, I have become pretty damn nihilistic. Like, seriously, I mean, I'm very dark-minded because of years and years of suffering. I mean, think about it. You're listening to a guy who's been suffering ever since I was 15. Ever since I was at the age of 15 years old. In late 2012, that's when I started suffering. And that continued on, and it pretty much paved the way for my future to be the most heartbreaking, hopeless, despairing, crushing, dark, negative, unfortunate future that I would have in my life when I would get older. It's as if my destiny was set in stone. I don't know if the universe hates me or if I'm cursed or some shit like that, but I just honestly feel like I just never had a chance. I just literally never had a chance. And now that I'm as old as I am and still a virgin, I'm a fucking freak. I'm a creep, a monster. I'm so perverted and twisted and such a degenerate. And I'm full of lust and anger and hatred and bitterness and hostility, and just I'm furious as hell. Like, every time I see any attractive women anywhere, it doesn't matter where they are or what the fuck they're doing. Every time I see any beautiful women anywhere, anytime, any place, I just feel lust, hatred, and anger all at the same time, all directed towards whatever women I'm looking at, whoever they are. And obviously I have my reasons, many reasons for that matter, for feeling the way I do. And it's not like I wanted to end up this way either. This is not who I wanted to become. I wanted to be normal. That's what I wanted. If I could have had it my way, if I could have picked and choose the kind of life that I had from birth, I would have chose something vastly different than what I ended up having. Or I would have just simply wished to have never been born if I would have known how much I would have suffered later on in my life when I got to a certain age. And, I hate the fact that I don't have either a Russian or Ukrainian girlfriend or wife. I do. I just seriously hate the fact that I am unable to have the wonderful privilege of being able to date or marry any of those beautiful foreign women that I guess you could say I fetishize. I honestly don't give a fuck, because again, I've suffered like hell in my life. I've probably suffered way more than any of you motherfuckers ever have in your oh so precious, privileged, spoiled, rotten, lucky, blessed lives of yours. I mean, seriously, I'm not even shitting any of you. When I see your lives compared to mine, I can just tell and sense and feel the vibe and atmosphere of people who clearly and obviously have had way, way better lives than I ever did, who are just really surpassing me in just so many fucking ways, and just living it up in life and just having such a grand, great, glorious, wonderful, amazing, awesome life, so much to the point where you just poke fun at me and just you put me down, you belittle me, you just stomp all over my broken body, you kick me when I'm already down, you just make me only feel worse about my suffering. as if I don't already constantly think about it nonstop 24/7. And I hate the fact that I've never lived in an area with any women either. Like, even if I would have been a normal guy who had confidence, self-esteem, and was extroverted and was able to develop some miraculous way social skills when it comes to talking to any women that I liked or had a crush on in my entire life up until this point in time, up until this age I'm at, I was still at a disadvantage because of the kind of places or areas, if you will, that I grew up in, which were rural areas in the country. Like, I was never lucky and privileged enough of growing up in a place or area where there actually were women that I could have possibly or maybe or potentially or technically or hypothetically have been able to date and or eventually marry. Like, I wasn't ever lucky to have that kind of upbringing because I never lived in an area where there were that many girls. Like, knowing that most of my life I grew up and lived in rural areas, it honestly puts me at a huge disadvantage compared to most other guys, because I know for a fact that girls or women do not live in rural areas, and they definitely do not prefer to live in those kind of places either. Where women live and love to live, which I personally fucking hate, is in big cities. Like, if I wanted to have more chances or opportunities to have been able to date girls or women or whatever, and being able to just have more like options or whatever, I would have had to live in a big city. But I wasn't raised in any of those kind of areas. I was never raised in any big city. I never grew up in any big city in any state, like anywhere in this country that I live in. So already from pretty much the very start and beginning of my life, I was put at a disadvantage compared to most other guys. But, obviously, even if I was lucky enough of being raised in a big city and grew up in such a place like that, the women there would have been such a major turnoff because they would have most likely all been liberals, or at least most of them anyways would certainly have been liberals. Like, honestly, for some reason, women just always seem to be more left-leaning, more left-wing, liberal, Democrat, and all that bullshit and garbage that I want nothing to do with and no part in. Like, and then again, even if I was raised in a big city, what are the chances that I would have been able to have a girlfriend? Or what are the chances that I would have been different and would not have become an incel? I feel like even if I would have been raised in a big city, I would have still turned into and become me, this guy who you're listening to. This 27-year-old black-pilled incel virgin man who's just so very hopeless, full of despair, brokenhearted, crushed, torn apart, shattered on the inside emotionally, dead inside. And just has dealt so many years with depression, crippling chronic depression, social anxiety, jealousy, envy, anger, hatred, bitterness, hostility, vengefulness. And as I've become in my late 20s and still virgin, I'm realistic. Like, maybe I'm not full on completely nihilistic, but I am for the most part. believe it or not. And, this is all a result of suffering for as long as I have. And not having a girlfriend as a teenager, or even in my early 20s, not being able to have the kind of life I wanted, not being able to be raised in the areas I wanted, not having the privilege or advantage to, move out of my parents' house when I was a lot younger, not being able to buy a car even if I wanted to because they're so damn fucking expensive, and they have for the longest ass time now, which is ridiculous and unfair. And, another thing, like houses, they're expensive too, but I know I haven't really been talking that much about Russian or Ukrainian women in today's video, but I apologize for that. But I guess I'll kind of end this video, since I'm about done anyways, talking about like things about them that caused me a lot of suffering. Not only the fact that I have never been lucky enough of being able to date or especially marry either one of them, because I never lived in a place or area with any, Russian or Ukrainian women, but also when I see a lot of these Russian or Ukrainian women, they seem really high maintenance. Like seriously, for foreign women, especially ones that I really like a lot and wish I could have more than anything, either one of them, that is, they seem just so very high maintenance. Like they seem deceivingly rich and wealthy, even though they're not. And they seem to just live such prestigious, pristine lives, and they seem just really well off, even though they're not. And they're just so stunningly beautiful, and because how beautiful they are, even way more so than American women, they're intimidating because of how stunningly beautiful they are. And even though I may never end up getting with any of them, which I probably won't, most likely, if I'm being honest, at least and realistic, I'm still not going to deny the obvious fact that they're not, as outrageously and insanely beautiful and stunning as they are, because they are, and that is a very true fact about both of them equally. And that only causes me even more pain and suffering, because I'm not able to talk to or interact with, beautiful women of, any kind. And, it doesn't even matter if they're foreign or not. Like, when it comes to talking to beautiful women, I can't do that shit. There's just no way in hell. Realistically speaking, I wouldn't even be able to walk up to them or approach them. Even making face contact with them, or eye contact, if I even do that by accident, I just immediately, in an instant, feel intimidated, feel uncomfortable, nervous, stressed out, uneasy, shy, introverted, because I am not confident. And I'm not going to fake that shit either, because I'm not fucking confident. I'm not an extrovert. I never have been, and I never will be. I can't fake something when I am not that kind of person or guy. And, I just was never able to develop social skills when it came to talking to girls that I liked and had a crush on in my entire fucking life. And that is something that started and began in my childhood. and lasted up until this point in time in my life. Because when I was a little kid, no girls talked to me really, or at least hardly any. They didn't really pay attention to me. They didn't give or offer me any kind of affection, not even a little smidgen bit of it. They never hit on me or flirted with me or asked me out. They never wanted to be friends with me. They never wanted anything to do with me. And like I said, and I'll say again, they never paid any attention to me whatsoever. And that started as early as like fucking elementary school, back when I was a little kid, a child. That lasted up until middle school and then eventually high school. And then I dropped out, and because of what started and began in elementary school, that made it so that the future of my life would be where I didn't get any girls. Like, no girls really looked at me or talked to me or asked me out or flirted with me, even at least that. They never wanted to be friends with me or asked me if I wanted to be friends with them. They never wanted to hang out with me or do anything with me. So I was just an outcast, a black sheep, an outsider, a nobody, a ghost. Like someone whose life and existence doesn't even fucking matter and has no meaning or purpose in this world or life. And, it's funny how I crush on women from other countries, foreign women, in other words, even though I have absolutely no fucking chance with them, because, I have no money to move over to other countries, even if I really wanted to. I have absolutely no chance, realistically speaking. And, just because I wasn't able to get with any American women doesn't mean like I'm going to have a better chance at being able to get with foreign women. And when it comes to other guys, they usually only go for like Asian women or like Filipino women or some shit like that. But I myself, I guess you could say I'm picky, or I have high standards or whatever, but like I want to marry someone within the same race of myself. A Caucasian woman, a white woman, if I could have it my way. Or if I were lucky enough of being able to score getting with a woman within the same race, even if she's not American, I'd be so damn happy if that were the case. But like, the thing also, like, Russia and Ukraine are at war with each other. So I wouldn't be able to move to either of those countries when they're at war with each other. That would be a really stupid, idiotic decision on my part. So I'm obviously not going to do that, even if I did have money. And I don't. And I most likely never will ever again, if I'm being completely and totally honest with all of you. If I'm being real, then, like I said, I'm probably never going to have any money. America is going down the tubes. Jobs are getting harder to get and find, for that matter. And, like, I've never really lived in an area with that many job opportunities. I've never lived in an area with that many job options. And I also don't have a vehicle of my own. And I can never afford a vehicle of my own because they're so fucking expensive, whether they're brand new or used. Like, if I want to get a vehicle that has low mileage, even if I were to get a used vehicle, I would at least want to get a used vehicle that has low mileage. And that's like under 100,000 miles. But if I want that, I end up having to pay $20,000 plus for that shit, even though it's used and not even brand new. And that's one of the main reasons, like, I can't even get a job. I can't afford it. Now, Now, maybe I would be able to if I lived in another country where vehicles are actually cheaper, a lot cheaper, than compared to here in bitch-ass America, where everything is so damn fucking expensive, no thanks to inflation and the Biden economy. Everything in this country is just falling apart and going down the fucking tubes very fast. But, like, when either Russian or Ukrainian women in America, if they do, that doesn't give me any better chances or opportunities to be able to date or marry them, because they'll probably come over with their boyfriends. And even if they don't, well, not only do some of them come over with their boyfriends and sometimes husbands, but also if they don't, they still move to big cities of all places. And of course they do, because they originally came from big cities in the first damn place, from their country originally. And then they get a man from this country who also lives in and is from a big city. So I have no fucking chance with them. Whether I try to move over to their country that they're originally from, or if they move over to this country, I have no chance, no opportunity. Because I'm at such a disadvantage compared to most other guys. And always have been and always will be. And that is why I've been rotting in my parents' basement for so many fucking years now. And just wasting away and rotting away and just having absolutely no purpose or goal in my life. No aspiration, no dreams, no hope. I just have nothing. I am nothing. I'm a nobody. And God, it just aggravates me and frustrates me that I'm unable to be able to date or marry a foreign woman of my choosing, of my desire. Because I have no vehicle of my own, no money to afford one, and again, vehicles here in America cost literally an arm and a fucking leg, and I don't live in a big city, so I have no chances or opportunities to realistically be able to, like, pick up any Ukrainian or Russian woman, if any of them even live in the state that I'm from. And there's not that many of them that do anyways. And I don't know, like, I don't know. I'm just losing at life here. And, you know, the thing about me, I'll never accept the fact that I'm an incel. I'll never be at peace with that, because this is not what I wanted my life to be. And that is something that a lot of you faggot-ass normies do not understand or get about us incel men. Many of us didn't choose this life. We had no choice. Sometimes this kind of life just claims us, or we're put at a disadvantage, or we're cursed by the universe or something. Like, I don't know what you would call it, but the point is, we didn't choose this life for ourselves. Now, maybe some incels do. I don't know, because I don't know every single fucking incel in the world and what their story is, but I know all the many reasons I ended up becoming an incel that I literally have just said and explained to all of you faggot-ass fucking normies in this video. Whether you understand me or not, that's up to you. I can't force or make any of you understand me. I can only explain myself as best I can. I can only explain my story and try to help all of you understand where I'm coming from. But I don't know. I'm just a massive ass failure in so many ways, for so many reasons. And I'm really suffering in my life because I never had a girlfriend as a teenager, never had a girlfriend in my early 20s, never had a girlfriend in my late 20s, never got married in my early 20s as I hoped to when I was a lot younger. But sadly and unfortunately, that did not happen for me because I wasn't as lucky, blessed, and fortunate and privileged as most fucking guys are. And my life is just literally a living hell. And nothing will help me. Nothing. You know, this will probably be my life until the day I die. Like, if I'm being honest and realistic with all of you, this will probably be my life. And I have no choice but to live with it. I'll never accept it. As long as I live, I'll never accept it. I'll never be at peace with this being my life. But I have to deal with it as best I can. I have to live with it. I have to bear it because it's what I have. It's what I was given by the universe or whatever. But I just want you all to know that I am in so much pain here. And I'm just so dead inside. And also because of all the years I've been suffering for, I hardly cry anymore. I'm mostly numb for the most part. Like, numb to my suffering, numb to any destruction going on in the world, or wars, or whatever, any problems or crises or issues or whatever. Like, I'm just so very numb because I've been suffering for so many years. And because I'm pretty much dead inside, like, I'm practically a zombie, walking, talking zombie. But anyways, that's all I wanted to say in today's video. Let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. I'm out.